actual Jerry Seinfeld dated a high school student, meeting her when she was 17.
I thought that was pretty well documented. Is this still CNN?
A little special song for Jerry Seinfeld. This should really fuck his New Year's up. You gotta get a sense of humor.
Seinfeld's girl is 17 and innocent with double D's.
We need to talk about the relationship between Jerry Seinfeld and a 17-year-old high school student. Back in 1993, this was a major controversy because Jerry started dating a woman named Shoshana Lonstein. Everybody knows Jerry's show Seinfeld, and he's known for dating a bunch of different women in the show. I believe he dated about 73 throughout the series, and none of those women were minors.
Fictional Jerry Seinfeld has had many notable romantic interests. A deaf woman, a phone sex operator, a supermodel, a woman who always wore the same outfit, a woman with man hands, and many more.
But it turns out that Jerry in real life had a type, and he likes them much younger than he is. Jerry had no problem dating a woman less than half his own age 4 years in the mid-90s, which is basically at the height of his fame. Even his current wife is 17 years younger than he is, which there's some scandal when it comes to his current wife, but before we go there, let's talk about his relationship with this high schooler.
Lasted how long?
9 years. 180 episodes.
You gave it up, right?
I did. So.
They didn't cancel you. You canceled them.
You're not aware of this?
No, I'm asking you.
You think I got canceled? Are you under the impression that I got canceled?
Have I hurt you, Jerry?
I thought that was pretty well documented.
Is this still
CNN?
Don't most shows go down a little?
Most people do also. But... Yeah, no, I went off the air. I was the #1 show on television, Larry.
Here's a photo of Jerry with Shoshana back in the 90s when she was just 17 years old. Jerry was strolling through Central Park one day in May 1993 when he spotted a stranger who happened to be Shoshana. He went up to her as a 38-year-old man and asked for her number. She was in high school at this point, and there's no way she didn't know who Jerry was because his show Seinfeld was getting about 30 million views per episode at home. So Jerry Seinfeld was a household name, and honestly, he could have anyone, but he decided to go for the 17-year-old. For reasons unknown, he and Shoshana hit it off, so she gave him her number. She was a 17-year-old high school student, and he was a 38-year-old man nominated for 2 Emmys and a Golden Globe.
The actual Jerry Seinfeld dated a high school student. Meeting her when she was 17 and rollerblading, Seinfeld and Shoshana Lonstein became tabloid regulars and Howard Stern fodder.
The media ate up this relationship because it was bizarre. I mean, I can't imagine dating a high schooler right now. So him almost in his 40s dating a high schooler just seems really weird. But Jerry says that the age wasn't an issue and that he had completely forgotten that she was so much younger than he was. Howard Stern actually interviewed Jerry on his show, and he asked him if he sits in Central Park and he has a candy bar on a string and pulls it when the girls come, kind of like a predator would. I can't find the interview itself, but I can find a couple of quotes. And when Howard asked that about the candy bar and the string, Jerry replied saying, "This is the only girl I ever went out with who was that young. I wasn't dating her. We just went to a restaurant and that was it." So he did in fact take her on a date when she was just 17 and in high school. Howard Stern has been hard on Jerry for some time, and he actually made up a song talking about Shoshana and her double D's and how Jerry likes them young. Here's a clip of his performance.
Howard Stern performing a song created especially for Jerry Seinfeld.
A little special song for Jerry Seinfeld. This should really fuck his New Year's up. You gotta get a sense of humor.
Seinfeld's girl is 17 and innocent with double D's. He saw those breasts and flipped his lid for a real young busty high school kid.
So that was part of a comedy show, but you know it pissed off Jerry Seinfeld. And in this performance, they featured a music video where Jerry is seemingly preying on this girl in a park. She's dressed up rather young. I mean, I don't know. This clearly isn't Jerry, but it's some guy pretending to be Jerry, and they're hanging out and doing things that children would do. So they're really trying to paint a narrative that Jerry Seinfeld is like into children, which is a problem here in Hollywood. Within weeks after their first date, friends and neighbors grew accustomed to seeing Jerry pull up in a limousine outside of their apartment building, where Shoshana lived with her parents and her brother. And it seems like her parents were approving of this relationship, which seems a little bit sick to me because like it's your high school daughter dating a 40-year-old man, but I guess because he was so famous, he got a pass. As their relationship continued to grow, so did the media coverage. One article actually labeled Jerry as a cradle snatcher because he had gone out with a high school girl, which I'm glad the media did call him out for this behavior. But nothing really changed, and they were very public about their relationship. Actually, he took her out to California to meet his 78-year-old mother, who supposedly was really happy about Shoshana. I don't know much about Jerry's family, but I did find one interview he did in 1993 with Playboy, which was the same year that he started dating Shoshana. So they ask Jerry about everything in this interview. They ask him about his career, his life, and of course his relationship. He claims that his mother was thrilled to meet Shoshana because she was Jewish and Syrian. My mother's Syrian, and all of my aunts and uncles on the Syrian side, this is what they expect, someone to be so young. They figured 15, 16 is the right age for a woman for me because that's the way they do it in Syria. So they're going 18, she's a little over the hill, but if you like her. So there's a lot to unpack here because he was asked about the age of his girlfriend and his parents' opinion, and he shares that his family actually thinks that maybe Shoshana is a little too old for him because over in their country in Syria, they match grown men with 15 and 16-year-old women. I would think this is some type of joke, but if it's not, it's a really weird way of thinking because it wasn't that long ago. Like the 90s were not that long ago, and this is like an ideology that is very dated that he's trying to justify his behavior with. He did say in this Playboy interview that his friends were a little bit hostile about it. His women friends did not like that he was dating a child, which makes sense, but ultimately everyone's happy for him because he's incredibly happy. So Shoshana starts to grow up. She eventually becomes 18 and she's ready for college. She goes to George Washington University in Washington, and at this point Jerry's actually coming to visit her, and they are walking on campus together and just being a normal couple. So Shoshana must be in a weird place because think about it. You're like 17 years old, just turning 18, going to college. And at this point, a lot of people are focused on like going to college, on their, education, on making new friends, but she's got a very high profile relationship, and she decides to actually transfer schools to get closer to Jerry. After going to George Washington University for 1 year, she decided to move over to UCLA and complete her degree there because she would have been closer to Jerry. So Shoshana goes through college and they continue their relationship. At the beginning, there was a lot of press, a lot of controversy surrounding them, but as time grew, they became very private, probably due to all of the unwanted attention. But right after she graduated from UCLA, she decided to break up with Jerry. She stated for the reason was the constant pressure of being in the public eye and missing her hometown. Shoshana also complains that Jerry worked 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and she wanted to run around and play. She also hated the paparazzi, which continued to follow her because she was dating Jerry. So at this point, she's 21. She's over it. She doesn't like the attention. She left her hometown for this guy, and she's ready to move on. I mean, she's 21. Why does she want to be with a 42-year-old man when she's really had no experiences of her own yet? So I'm glad Shoshana had the courage to leave that relationship because that's really scary when it's so high profile. Jerry has since addressed this relationship, and he seems to believe that the relationship they shared may have had a hefty age gap, but love is love, so everyone can just calm down. Quote, "I am not an idiot. Shoshana is a person, not an age. She is extremely bright. She's funny, sharp, very alert. We just get along. You can hear the click." He also claims that he couldn't catch a break because his only non-Shoshana option was to date several women at once. Quote, when I wasn't involved with Shoshana and seeing several women, then it was awkward. You would go out with one girl and the other sees you with her in the paper. That was uncomfortable. Now I'm not doing anything I'm uncomfortable with. My interest in her is very proper. One thing I did find shocking is that Jerry did ask Shoshana to be his wife. He was 42 years old and it was her 21st birthday and he asked her to marry him. And this wasn't the only time he asked her to be his wife.
Two were an item throughout her university days, and Jerry also allegedly made 2 attempts at engagement, including a proposal on her 21st birthday.
That seems so selfish to me. I don't know why, but like a 21st birthday is so big for someone, especially in the States, because they can start drinking, and drinking is such a big part of like social culture, blah, blah, blah. So to make it about like her getting engaged to you and taking it away from her, and it just seems like he's trying to further limit her freedom that she was just granted. I do believe that Jerry loved Shoshana. He said, quote, we were very much in love, but the timing wasn't quite right. Quote, I almost got married to Shoshana, end quote. So I do think he really cared about her, but it doesn't change the fact that it's creepy that he tried to get with her when she was so young. And it doesn't help that his next wife also had a large age gap. She was 28 years old, but that's not the worst part of this. The worst part is that she actually cheated on her husband with Jerry. When Jerry met his future wife, Jessica, she had just returned from a 3-week honeymoon with her husband. Even though she had just walked down the aisle, Jessica left her first husband to get involved with Jerry. The couple went to Italy for their honeymoon. It sounds beautiful. And then just not even a month later, they get back and Jessica files for divorce, supposedly after she met Jerry at a New York City gym.
You knew this was the one when?
Oh, right away.
Right away.
You know what it is? It's not the conversation or the attraction that you feel to the opposites. It's just like this comfort level when someone is in your house. That's, to me, that's what's important.
In Jessica's defense, she claims that her relationship with her husband at the time was completely broken. There was no fixing it. But Jessica's ex-husband claims that he was manipulated, misled, and completely caught off guard by Jessica's infidelity. She married Jerry about a year after meeting him and leaving her husband. And maybe it was for the best that she left her husband because he has a track record. He's a Broadway producer. His name's Eric, and he supposedly got violent with his second wife after Jessica. His wife, Lindsay, got a restraining order against him for violent behavior. Supposedly, he had postpartum depression, which is something I didn't know that men could experience. And this led him to threaten to smash his wife, Lindsay's face when she was nursing their 1-month-old daughter, and tore apart baby announcements after raging over credit card bills. So Jessica's probably glad that she got out of this and she's with Jerry. He later explains that he was suffering from postpartum depression, which again, I did take psychology, and like when I learned about postpartum, it was like a chemical imbalance type of thing. So I would need to look into like how this affects men or what's going on here. But he also acknowledges, it's no excuse for violence. So I don't think it's okay. And I feel like he tried to figure out a reason to explain his behavior away so that he doesn't have to get in trouble for what he did. But there's no excuse for violence or threatening like the mother of your child, like while she's breastfeeding your child. Like that just seems a little bit sick in the head. But I know you guys are wondering what happened to Shoshana. I mean, she left Jerry at 21, and then what happened from there? She currently has 3 children and an ex-husband. Oh, I'm sorry, Shoshana, it didn't work out. But she's a successful fashion designer and writer. Even though one of the reasons why Shoshana ended her relationship with Jerry was due to the pressure of being in the public eye, she pursued a career that brought her more than a little attention: fashion. With the help of her father, she was able to create her own clothing company called Shoshana.
The QVC red carpet event this year, I'm going to be selling a statement necklace, this very necklace. It's coming in 2 colorways, this turquoise and a gorgeous white. And it's going to have a matching bracelet set. And then we're selling another beautiful gunmetal.
Looking at her website, it's definitely all about her and about Shoshana, which, get it, girl. I mean, if you're gonna make a brand, I guess make it about yourself. She's definitely an expensive designer. There's definitely no Fashion Nova up in here. $500, $600, $700 dresses. So very expensive. I'm just not one who like spends that much money on clothing. So I'm like, ugh, when I see those, I just kind of cringe inside, because like, how many people are over here buying a $700 Shoshana dress? Like, oh my God, you gotta get this Shoshana dress. I mean, it just seems like, why are you even putting so much time and effort into making something that nobody's really gonna buy? I mean, it's just too expensive, not accessible, not cool. But I want to hear what you guys think in the comments below. It's weird to think that these like 40-year-old men in Hollywood are just like interested in these teenagers, and like they claim that like, oh, you know, age is nothing but a number. But that's weird. That's convenient.
That's suspicious. That's weird.
I think it's important to call these things out, because so many of these creepazoids get away with this in Hollywood, and there are so many victims out there who have been silenced. Thankfully, Shoshana is not one of them, but it is giving grooming energy. So comment below, and I'll see you guys in a new video soon. Bye, guys.